Today, the TV was showing a historical film, one of those medieval sword fighting ones, where a group attacks another group's castle and tries to take it over. As usual, my brain switched to what if mode. I thought to myself, what if I went back in time with the knowledge I have now? That would be so cool. I mean, I have so many war strategies in my mind, and I thought if I went back in time with today's knowledge, believe me, I'd become one of the greatest commanders and war strategists that even 10,000 years later, everyone would still know my name, no doubt. I'm sure you've had a thought like this at least once, or something similar. That's how I picked the topic for this video. Let's not get into whether time travel is even possible or not. We just want to explore what would happen if a person actually traveled back in time. What would happen to them with all this modern knowledge? Okay, let's set the scenario somewhere beyond our time, when technology was a bit more advanced than today. Now imagine, in your comfy modern clothes, you suddenly appear in the middle of a London street in the year 1820. What do you think you'd face first? The horrible smell? I'm serious. Back then, a lot of people didn't have any proper hygiene systems. More than 40% of people in big cities didn't even have toilets in their homes. You know how on social media people say that Europeans in lower class neighborhoods relieve themselves on the streets? That's actually a leftover from the culture of that era. Now take your mind back to that time. Imagine the streets a mix of mud and human and animal waste? Gross, right? And that's just the beginning. People stare at you with open mouths. Like, what are you wearing? If you're a man with your short hair and clean-shaven face, it looks like you came from another planet. If you're a woman wearing comfortable clothes without all those tighteners and body shapers, they'll either think you're crazy or extremely indecent. Trust me, if you're a woman, you wouldn't want to travel more than 30 years into the past. I'll explain why in a bit. With that appearance and that smell, what's the first thing you'd say? Hi, I'm from the future. Dude, you're making a big mistake. At best, they'll think you're mentally unstable and send you to an asylum, if such a thing even existed back then in the modern sense. And at worst, the magic stick of blasphemy will come down on you. You're done. Don't forget, about 80% of people in that era were superstitious, and many were burned as witches just like that. Let's assume you survived those first heavy looks. You say, well, I speak English or whatever. You think you'll just talk to them? Still wrong, my friend. Language is like a living creature. It keeps evolving and changing. English 200 years ago, with a bunch of different words, expressions, and accents, will sound like a half-familiar scrambled mess to you. Imagine saying all stylish and confident, okay, I got it, or that's so cool. And the other person just gives you a poker face, like, what are you babbling? Interesting fact, about 35% of the words we commonly use today either had a different meaning back then or didn't exist in their dictionaries at all. Now imagine trying to talk about the internet, smartphones, airplanes, or microbes. The poor guy's brain would explode. It's like trying to describe fire engine red to someone born blind. Get what I mean? There's no shared context for understanding these things. If we get past the cultural and linguistic shock, we face the next big boss, disease. Your precious body is trained to fight 21st century germs. Your immune system is like a battle-hardened soldier prepared for this era. But the moment you step into the past, it's like you're thrown into a jungle full of unknown germs your ancestors used to fight. Imagine on your first day there, you catch smallpox or cholera or typhus, diseases that are either eradicated or extremely rare today, but used to kill people like flies back then. No joke. In the 19th century, life expectancy in even the best countries was under 45 years, and about 40% of children died before they turned 5. And those are the optimistic stats. And it's not just you who's in danger. The germs you bring from the 21st century are like a biological bomb for the people of that time. Your simple cold could trigger a deadly epidemic and wipe out a generation, just like what happened to the indigenous people of America when Europeans arrived. Your body is like an infected USB you're about to plug into a computer from ancient times with no antivirus. It'll crash the whole system. Now you might say, but I have so much knowledge. I know physics, I know chemistry, I might even be able to invent a few things and change the world. You're being way too optimistic, buddy. Let me ask you one simple question. Right now, can you build a basic light bulb from scratch with raw materials around you? Do you know exactly what metal, what level of purity, what kind of glass and resistance, and what tools are needed? The truth is, 95% of us are just technology users, not its creators. We know how to use a phone, but if it breaks, we don't even know how to fix it, let alone build one from scratch. Now imagine trying to build a radio in the past. Where will you find pure copper wire? What about precision tools for small parts? Back then, these things either didn't exist or were extremely rare. It's like trying to build a skyscraper with bare hands. And here's another problem. If you're way ahead of your time and invent something people can't understand, instead of giving you a medal, they'll label you a witch or fraud and throw you in jail. Remember Galileo? He was imprisoned for life just because he said the Earth is round and orbits the sun. Let's say you get past all this and just want to live. How? You don't have the currency of that time. No ID, no national card, nothing to prove who you are. In a world where lineage and family meant everything, you'd be a complete nobody. The pretty banknotes in your pocket today, back then they'd be worthless. They'd think they're just colored paper. Today's coins made from modern alloys would be useless to them, so you'd end up sleeping beside an old bearded man who probably has lice on the street. And guess what? Even cardboard hadn't been invented yet, so you can't even be a cardboard sleeper. At best, you might find a pile of hay and spend the night next to the kind old man. You say, "I'll get a job." What job do you know that would be useful back then? Computer programming, digital marketing, managing Instagram pages, even driving, which is a basic skill today, wasn't useful back then because there were no cars. More than 80% of the jobs we have today simply didn't exist 200 years ago. So far, we've talked only about the big challenges, but daily life in the past is full of annoying little things that we don't even think about today. Imagine spending your nights in total darkness with just a flickering candlelight. Your tooth aches and there's no specialized dentist. The only solution is to pull it out with no anesthesia. You'd scream so loud it'd shake the heavens. You'd shiver through winter because the only source of heat is a weak wood-burning stove. The bad smell of unwashed bodies fills the air because hygiene and personal care weren't anything like today. Finding clean drinking water is a whole mission, and every cup you drink could carry dozens of diseases. Internet, smartphones, refrigerators, washing machines, toilets with flush systems. Those were sweet dreams back then. Believe it or not, even the kings of that era didn't have the toilets we use today. What they had was stinky, ugly stuff, more like a tunnel to hell than a proper restroom. Back then, people spent a whole day washing clothes, or for cooking, they had to start at dawn collecting firewood, grinding grains, kneading dough. It was exhausting. Could you really handle such a life? Now we come to the sensitive part, an important question. What's your skin color? If your skin is even a little brown or dark, you're doomed, my friend. Did you know slavery was still a normal legal practice back then? And if you're a woman, it's even worse. Women were seen as the second sex, weak and only fit for housework and child rearing. There's much more to say about gender discrimination and slavery that I'd rather not go into, but just know, even if you're a man, you really wouldn't want to travel more than 30 or 40 years into the past. And if you try to talk about human rights and freedom with today's mindset, at best they'll laugh at you and say, "What's this guy talking about?" At worst, well, history is full of people who lost their heads for their beliefs. Remember, until the late 19th century, more than 65% of human societies considered slavery perfectly legal. Say one wrong political word and you're done for. Freedom of speech and criticizing rulers or religion back then was basically signing your own death sentence. Now tell me, do you think life was better in that era or in this one? If you enjoyed this video, support Factorium with a like and subscribe, my friend.